Hi, my name is Madeleine Romanelli, and today I will be discussing my capstone project titled Essential Needs Inspire Essential Deeds, a case study for promoting social enterprises for education. So, for quick context, actually, I've been working with a local nonprofit, the Whittier Area Literacy Council, for the last 3 years, with their mission statement being literacy is a basic human right. However, in the context of my project, the one thing I've found is that while literacy is a basic human right to some, it's not for others. So, hence my revision on this slide. Literacy should be a basic human right. And in my project, I will discuss the realities of that and why I've decided to present you with this statement to sort of ponder throughout this project. So, this brings us to the broad question that has guided this project, which is how do social enterprises contribute to the goal of increasing the literacy rate in the form of educational intervention? In order to answer this question, I devised a thesis, which is broken down into the three aspects you see here on the screen. With the first being, I wanted to describe the purpose of a social enterprise, the need that organization is meeting, and the importance of social enterprises on the surrounding demographics of a community. So, really briefly, to describe the project itself, it can be broken down into four sections. The literature review of the research paper, which consists of five distinct theories that have informed the theoretical context of my paper. Within the paper is the methodology section that outlines my procedures in writing the research paper itself and conducting telephone interviews with individuals from the Whittier Area Literacy Council, mainly the board members. And then the case study is also based on uh, the Whittier Area Literacy Council, or WALK for short, as I will refer to them for the rest of this project. And then also that case study that I did on the center, it was sort of used to bridge the gap between theory and real world practice by analyzing WALK. And then as a tangible application to this project, I created a marketing plan for WALK based on the research and conclusions that I found through writing the research paper. So, in saying that, so now we move on to the theoretical context of my paper. Literacy is essential. At least that's sort of the premise that we were starting off on. In the scope of this research, English print literacy, which is defined within the cognitive learning theory section of the paper, is essential for living, working, and just generally existing in this contemporary world. That was informed after taking into account, it's beginning really with Maslow's theory of motivation, which is the technical name for what we generally know as Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And specifically in the hierarchy of needs, something like literacy is actually on the second level, but I argue that it actually should really be considered on the first level of a basic need. You need to know how to read. But moving on, so despite the importance placed on print literacy in education, there is an inherent failure in the US schooling system to provide the proper help necessary for each and every student to succeed to the best of their abilities. However, despite this, children also rely solely on their support systems, mainly their parents, their guardians, etc., for their growth and education just as much, if not more, than the school district in which they attend, if they attend school in the first place, which causes a dissonance if the student is learning or really not learning, continuing their literacy skills they learn at school, at home. So, this was informed by the socio-cultural learning theory, which mostly stems from, which covers like cultural background as it influences a child's vantage point and how they learn and take in the world around them. Taking all this into account and adding in the fact that the United States is a predominantly English speaking country, with the exceptions of regions that also have a widely spoken second or third language. So, for example, in Southern California, that would be Spanish. It would, of course, be most advantageous to be bilingual, but the dominant language spoken, English, tends to take precedence, as this is sort of just the reality of living in the US. And to go further into that would be outside of the scope of this project, but that's sort of the premise that it ends on there. So, in order to accomplish the greater goal of adding moving on to more the business end, as the first three theories are the educational uh, informing theories. Then we move on to the business part, which is human capital theory. So adding human capital to the economy, specifically through the investment of education on the individual level by providing a resource to those who require educational intervention. Social enterprises can then come together to accomplish the task of providing educational intervention outside of the failing or failing school system that fails those who need more help. So as we discussed, social enterprises are companies that either focus their production, their services, or the byproduct of whatever it is they offer to better their community, local and non-local. So meaning they either provide a product or service that is specifically helping people, such as like Walk is providing a specific service that helps the local community, versus a company that's just more ethically sustainable, versus like they don't sell anything specifically that is specific to like their ethic. Or anyways, moving on. Moving on to the case study and marketing plan, the more applicable part of this project. The goal was to address these three topics. So starting with describing the purpose of Walk, the need that Walk is meeting, and the importance of Walk on the surrounding demographics of the Whittier community. Starting with Walk's mission statement. Walk is a nonprofit volunteer organization dedicated to teaching people to read, write, and speak the English language for free. Walk has served Whittier and adjacent communities since 1962. Walk's mission is to build a stronger, more literate community by connecting those who can help with those who need it the most. And then, of course, since this is their explicit mission statement, it ends with your generous donation, you can help Walk achieve its mission, because it is fully a nonprofit. So to further describe Walk, at least within the scope of my marketing plan that I did for them, this is a condensed version of the SWOT analysis that's within the marketing plan. This is sort of a standard within any business or marketing plan. So the overall strengths of this organization is that it is a small to medium sized operation, which is able to keep down overhead costs, keep them low, so that in a time such as right now, where maybe there's less donations happening to Walk, they can better conserve their money for future things, such as maintaining any of their costs, such as like rent, supplies, and whatnot. And yeah, and then of course, the biggest part of the marketing plan in terms of suggestion was the biggest weakness would be the lack of funding diversification, in that the majority of their funding comes from a single source, which of course, if that single source decided to stop funding them, then that would mean they're in big trouble. However, they of course have addressed this in the past, and they are working towards it. So this marketing plan was just further supporting their goal of fully diversifying their portfolio so that they're not so reliant on one source. Of course, a big opportunity which supports this goal is to expand their social media presence. They already have some social media happening, but of course, it needs to be further, but we will talk about that more on the next slide. And the biggest threat, of course, has changed because of this year, but really with COVID-19, their whole operations changed, as kind of like with a lot of people. Whereas it used to be an in-person, face-to-face, tutor to student in their specific building or that they rent. Now it's all over Zoom and on the phone, and really a big thing just beyond the fact that you don't have the same sort of classroom atmosphere is just the motivation to continue tutoring has dropped for a lot of tutors, according to one of my interviewees. So that is definitely a shame, but they have a lot of people within the organization have certainly done their best and gone above and beyond to further continue to teach English. So one of the significant findings of the marketing plan is like I was just saying, is the need for donation diversification. One way to achieve that is to target the younger demographics for donation compared to older longtime donors. Social media, of course, would be a low cost way to achieve indirect marketing, as well as allowing for a platform where the center could collect online donations via PayPal, like they're already doing, and anything from like $1 to, well, however much you want. The sky's the limit. Of course, younger don't targeting a younger demographic for donors, they would most likely donate in smaller sums, but gaining more donors would more than likely make up for the amount of what I like to call micro donations. So for direct marketing, continuing to encourage current tutors, parents, and students to promote the center is certainly never a bad thing and should always be encouraged. This type of promotion can take many forms, but one way that would be most effective would be to encourage current tutors and families to even maybe sort of like passively seek out people they think would be good as tutors, because with a nonprofit such as this one, they always need more donations and they always need more tutors, because that's what is the lifeblood and keeps the center going, essentially. So this is an example of a budget that WAC can enact for online social media promotion, which can be as little as $3 a day for a period of 1 month, because the most effective means for reaching larger audiences on social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter is to boost your posts and target it towards your desired audiences. Spending money on social media is a necessity for this. The following budget is a real example of what spending $3 a day looks like on Facebook and what spending $5 a day looks like on Instagram. It should be noted that Facebook owns Instagram, which makes it easier to manage a posting schedule, create ads, pay for them, and everything else that is necessary for running a dual social platform accounts. As for Twitter, the rule is the same: promoted tweets gain more reach. The only difference with Twitter is that sharing and posting up to 5 times a day is encouraged, while posting once or twice a day on Facebook and Instagram is appropriate. So, to wrap this up, stakeholder theory, as practiced by the social enterprise WAC, lends itself to being attractive to larger corporations, entrepreneurs, and individual donors who would want to lend money or time to a social enterprise like this due to their mission, their vision, and the direct contribution they are making to a community in which they operate. In order for this paper to apply what's analyzed, like it has, the marketing plan was created, of course, and this plan that I made sort of outlines how to continue the legacy of providing tools to those who need it most, while keeping a forward-thinking attitude about how to best diversify the donation portfolio. So, in conclusion, I have described the purpose of WAC as a social enterprise, the need that WAC is meeting, and its importance on the surrounding demographics of the Whittier community. And I just want to acknowledge the many people who have helped me along the way, like my professor, Sitar, like my professor. Thank you, Stage. You've been amazing and super just supportive and wonderful. And thank you, Professor Sanders. You've been super awesome. And Professor Wren, I've known you for how many years now, and it's just wow, we've come a long way. It's really cool. And of course, the Whittier Scholars Program for letting me pursue my dreams, if you will. And of course, the Whittier Area Literacy Council. It's been awesome working with you guys for so many years, and thank you for letting me be a part. And thank you so much, everyone.